Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One vs. World's Life is Strange podcast. I am one of your hosts, Adnan. My co-host Adam is here. Adam, you here?
I'm here, but I'm in a box. Somebody help! I'm in a box.
He is in a box. He is downloading the new Taylor Swift stuff before we started, so apologies for the slow delay that we've...
I have the phone memo demo. The phone memo demo of Taylor Swift. It's true.
There you go. You got a vinyl yet?
Damn it. With Jusant or
Taylor Swift's. No, forget about Jusant. The Tortured Poet Department vinyl.
No, I do not have that vinyl. Absolutely not.
No,
dude. It's a cool concept though, like where you like open up the fold and like the lyric book is within the vinyl fold. That's a really cool idea. But such a mid album.
There
but no, I have not pre-ordered Jusant yet. It was a rough week and I completely forgot. So
you're gonna run out. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of copies of that, personally speaking.
I know, I'm upset. Okay, I'm gonna try today.
There we go. Got a confirmation for it, so don't know it's got a sale there. Anyway. Welcome to StrangeCast. If you are new here, as always, please do consider dropping subscribe on the channel, turn notifications, like the video, share with your friends, helps you support the channel, helps you keep up to date with all the content that we do. And StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. So we're available on Spotify with a video version, we're available on Apple Podcasts, we're available on all those services. So go please download them on there, listen to your podcasts on there, and also give us a rating as well because it helps. And thank you to everyone on Spotify as well. We're over 185 followers on that platform alone. So thank you so much for that. And just a little plug as well, the Lost Records Journal is available. It is now on podcast services. It's now on YouTube. So do check it out. It's got a couple of slight technical issues, which infuriated me and made me angry.
Yes.
I was very close to making...
angry as a Brit can get.
Yes, as angry as I can get. I was like shaking my hand, like whilst I was recording. That's how angry
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I was doing Adam's impersonation of me saying bloody hell. That's how angry I was during it.
Wait, so what would that look like? You are pretending to be me, pretending to be you.
Yeah, I put my skin cap on so I have no hair to get rid of that. Then I put my cap on top of it, put my glasses on, reshape my beard a little bit so it looks like you. Then I'm like, bloody hell.
Have I never revealed what my head looks like on show? I don't think I've ever had. Yeah.
No, I remember you showed me because you came on and you took the cap on. I was like, what? I was like, excuse me? I was like,
yeah.
There are moments where you've had a cap and you've had it the other way around and you've seen it there.
Seen my hairline, yeah.
But like, I don't think you've actually like been off and been like...
Yeah, Ratatouille is just under my hat the whole time. Like all of my thoughts. There's a rat inside my hat, is what I'm saying. So I can't reveal the rat.
You should embrace the look. I think you should embrace it.
Oh, I like my I'll show you. I don't really care.
There we go.
Oh,
big
bald.
reveal.
Ah!
Boom.
I can't hear you, but here it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I don't really mind like my hairline receding. It's just more of like I just like hats a lot. That's all.
He's 100% gonna end up in a camper van in a couple of like years, cooking crystal meth from the back of the on top of vinyls. It's his own spice that he puts to the flavor of it.
Also, the light like reveals my scalp, so it looks like I'm balding. But just like no, it's just there's a lot of light shining on my scalp. That's all.
It's a good look. I think most people embrace it. Like I've got loads of hair. Thankfully, like mine's just tied back at the minute. Like when you look at it, it's like. So I'm blessed with naturally good hair for that. But no, you should embrace your look, though.
Yeah, I'll be Michelle. By the way, my comment of the day, freaking Life is 2D, confirming me. Because you've been gaslighting me. It's been Michelle Koch. Is it Michelle Koch? And I've been saying it's Michelle Ko. And then Life is 2D puts it in the comments of the last video saying like, hey, he pronounces it Michelle Ko. And I'm like, yes, let's go. I've been gaslit this whole time.
I think it's Michelle Ko. Emphasis though of it. I think is it Coke like that?
No,
he doesn't say. He just says it comes across as Co, but I think it's pronounced Coke.
Yeah, it's Co. I've been saying that.
But you just say Ko though. You're saying Co.
No, I'm saying Co. You're gaslighting me again.
There is a pronunciation which is Koch. There is that one.
I understand that, but he pronounces it Co. I'm so glad.
Maybe it was an off day for him in the office when he said that.
I can't wait for July 4th to like celebrate when we like untie the knot from you lot and like we spell color with no U.
That's just like infuriating. That is so.
I can't wait for July 4th just to celebrate. Like, shoot off fireworks and all that. Even though it gives PTSD to the veterans in our country. But you know what? We won't care about them. No, we'll just do what we want because we're American.
That's the American way, isn't it?
It always is. Don't care about other people's feelings. Just care about your own feelings.
Yep.
Anyways, back to the show.
Back to the show. Yes, Lost Records Journal is available now, so do go and check that out. And as we confirmed on Lost Records Journal, that turns bi-weekly from next month. So on the channel, you basically have a synergy of StrangeCast and Lost Records Journal bouncing back and forth. So you'll have 1 week of each. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting that done. It'll be very exciting for us to cover both those games, series, everything else in between it. So do go and check out Lost Records Journal on podcast services and on YouTube as well. You can subscribe, you can follow, you can download the exact same way as StrangeCast, and do give us ratings on those. And thank you to everyone who follows the Lost Records Journal. Over 20 followers on Spotify already, so thank you for that. Adam, we're back for StrangeCast. It's very quiet again, kind of like just looming around waiting for this new Life is Strange game to come. If it does come, if it's still in development, who knows? Like Deck 9 has just gone very quiet, barring one or two minor things here and there. But we'll get on with it anyway, because we've got a couple of things here to talk about, some interesting pieces as well. A bit more Square Enix conversation that ties into Life is Strange. A bit more, we kind of cover Square Enix, but not in the grander scheme of things. But we're going to cover it within the embracing fold of Life is Strange and where we go from here. But before that, we go into Life is Strange 2, the game, the GOAT.
Yes.
The best thing since sliced bread, because that is our first piece. This is our first and only news piece, which was tweeted earlier this month on the 9th of May. I think this came out after the last episode or something, which was, I don't know, but today marks the 5th anniversary of episode 3 of Life is Strange 2. Time flies. What in-game decisions has stuck with you the most? We want to know. So they tweeted that out, which is 5 years since episode 3 Wastelands, the follow-up to the incredible masterpiece episode 2 Rules came out. Adam, how do you feel about this episode? Do you think it's the best Life is Strange 2 episode still? Or has it always been your favorite?
Oh, it's always been my favorite. Wastelands is always the one that's like the climax of the story. It's the one where things get real, the stakes get much higher, and it just sets up for the second half of the story so well that it really did make an impact. Like the first 2 episodes didn't really click with me, but this is the one that like made me think like, okay, we're on something here. We're good.
Yeah, episode 3 Wastelands would be like top 5 all-time episodes in the series today if we're going to talk about it. I think it would easily fit into that bracket. Great follow-up to the masterpiece that is Rules as well, as you know as well. And you seem to dislike for no reason. On the actual point of episode 3, I think Wastelands is like the one of the most real Life is Strange 1 moments in Life is Strange 2, in terms of like all the different characters you meet, the kind of like the vibe you get from it, being at the campsite, the interactions you get. I think it's like very much what fans really wanted from Life is Strange 2, even the ones that didn't like it. In terms of, we get to meet Cass, and Cass is a great character, a lot of fun interacting with her. Finn as well, boy, Finn's in there. And then also people at the campsite, you have Jacob, you have Penny, all those characters that come into it. I enjoy really cutting weed as well in my spare time during that game. During the game, not in real life, in the game. I
like cutting cannabis.
Yeah, just like I was pretty good at that, man. I was like, just like nothing.
Just like you just like roll up to like just some random place in the woods. Like, hey, I've played Life is Strange 2. I think I'm qualified. I think I got you guys. I learned from my boy
Sean.
Cut.
I think that is, for me in Life is Strange 2, it's either this episode or the next episode 4 Faith, which are the 2 favorites I like. And I sometimes flip-flop back between them thinking which one's better. But I think this one is just, the vibe is there. It's a great vibe in the campsite. The interactions are great. You kind of see Sean's story a bit more in terms of like a coming of age moment where it's like him getting a bit older. You have the choice of like a haircut, a love interest. It's kind of like more Sean oriented than other episodes in the series because you've always had Daniel kind of being there, and Daniel's being a little bit brattish in this episode in terms of your relationship with Sean is fracturing a little bit. So it's like, it's nice to give Sean a lot of exposition, kind of being like a little bit like a teenager, because obviously he's been on the run with his dad. I'm sorry, he's been on the run since his dad died. But generally speaking, I always like that. And then obviously like the love interest you can make with Cass or with Finn, or you can keep it platonic. Yeah, I think this is the Life is Strange DNA, as they call it, pretty much in one episode. And then also a great conclusion as well. And carries on that theme as well. It was like episode 3, like, you know, we had like great episode 3, Chaos Theory in the first Life is Strange, and then episode 3, Wastelands, is another great addition in the 3 entries of the Life is Strange series. Yeah, great episode.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely great episode. Legendary.
And also as well, one more thing on that as well. I always find it interesting, like, out of all the characters we met in the campsite, who some of them I've interviewed on Player One vs. World, so you can go check that out in Life After Strange. Some of those characters, like, I don't think many people would have predicted that Jacob would have been the character that goes into episode 4 and takes a bigger role on. I think that's the one that...
Yeah. I was thinking Penny would be...
I love Penny.
Yeah, I love Penny. I wish we got more Penny.
Yeah. Penny was great. Hannah was an interesting
Who you
character
interviewed on Life After Strange. Yes.
So because I failed with some of the other people to get... There are a lot of public failures in that thingy. Orval's in there, Hannah's in there, who's also played by Hannah, which is name. Jacob we interviewed in there as well.
I was about to say, didn't you interview Jacob? But yeah.
Yeah, we did, yeah. David Valdez, yeah, great guy, really nice guy as well. He's in there. Who else is in there? I interviewed Sarah Bartholomew, who was Cassidy, for Hardcore Gamer back in the day. So I interviewed her actually just after the second episode had released. So we'd only seen Cass for 5 minutes. But I interviewed her and did a full interview about Cassidy before the game came out, which as well, even more so as well, like considering how I talk about Life is Strange and Square Enix, if you go and watch the character profile video on the Life is Strange YouTube page about Cassidy, there is an interview they reference between Sarah Bartholomew and Hardcore Gamer, which is my interview. So I've been immortalized in a Life is Strange video on their channel. It actually has like Hardcore Gamer with the quotes and stuff. And I'm like, there I am. I'm always watching Square Enix. They can never get away from me. But yeah, it's actually there. Go and have a look if you don't believe me. It's actually like full character profile on Cassidy. And it's the only interview that had ever been done with Sarah Bartholomew at that time. And I was like, boom, I'm in that video. Which obviously she went on to be nominated for a BAFTA, which was well deserved because Cassidy's like up there as a Life is Strange character, like elite Life is Strange character. But yeah, there was quite a few of them that I interviewed. Some of them I'm trying to get a hold of, but it's just like it's just difficult trying to keep Life After Strange going as well, like and getting people on there. It's like 30 plus actors have been on there. It's just crazy to even have got it to that point, if anything.
And if you don't believe them, just start your own podcast. And we're not even talking about like getting like big name people. Just try to get guests in general on your podcast. Just get a guest on your podcast and just like the annoyance you'll feel. But yeah, like going on that, and then try getting somebody who's been in the clutches of Square Enix. So it's pretty difficult after that. Yeah,
I think it's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking about podcasts. Like everyone wants to start a podcast, and great, do it, you know. And I actually wanted to bring on someone on. I'm not going to say who it is, but like, you know, really nice person as it is. And I messaged them saying, "We'd love to have you on one of the podcasts to talk about things." And they were like, "I'm not really that comfortable doing podcasts. It's not my kind of thing." And I have like, you know, it's just, you know, I kind of feel like a little bit maybe uncomfortable doing it. And I was like, fair enough.
I don't know why Joe Rogan said that to you. He has his own podcast.
Joe Rogan, like, I only wish to be me. No, it's funny. Like when it's just funny thing back because I was like, actually, yeah, you know what? Not everyone wants to do it, and it's like even with like the podcast, for example, like this one, it's been going for like 4 years or so, or 3 years. I think it's 3 years it's been going on. It's like the amount of podcasts that fall off. I think after like 20 episodes, if that, probably 10 if anything. And the amount of people who stick with it because you get a good like euphoric jump to start with, but then it's the process of editing it and keeping it relevant and keeping people engaged and consistent. Because like we've only missed like 3 periods, I think. Like one was when I went on hiatus very early on because I was done with the channel, got off it. Second was when my dad died when we went on hiatus, and then the other one was the month that we took out because you took a break last year. But even then, we still recorded episodes in advance. But try and do it consistently because it's like it's painful to do it. But then also as well, as Adam said, bring on guests, because like that is
It's
so
brutal.
like, yeah, it's like rejection dysphoria for me. It's like taking, it's like I take it so personal. I'm like, oh,
there's so many times I want to bring back games and groceries.
yeah.
But man, it just got
Get
too big.
flashbacks.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
like-
because we brought on some really good guests. Like I had on it's funny that you said like a guest that like, oh, he doesn't really do podcasts. One of my favorite guests I've ever had on was Corey Schmitz, who is a graphic designer and did the logos for Oculus. He did the logo for Stray. He like look him up, Corey Schmitz, and he's done a logo that you know of. But he wasn't really a podcast person. That's not to say that he was bad on the show. It's just that you could tell he's not really a conversationalist. He very much keeps to himself. He doesn't really talk a lot. And I'm just like, oh man, I think I just made this guy like out of his comfort zone. So it's just like funny, like you bring on these guests, but you also don't know how they interact to a podcast. Versus when I had on RGT 85, like that one, like yeah, it was a great show because he does podcasts, he does videos, he does all that. But you know, you never know how someone's going to interact on the podcast.
That's
it's
the
funny.
one. That's something you mentioned as well, because like I recently showed the TikTok videos that we make and play one versus well, which you go and follow us as well. We've got over 50 followers on that. But it's like someone saw it for the first time who I know in real life, probably like one of my only closest people, and they were really shocked the way that I acted on it compared to how I act in real life. It was like like what? And it's like, yeah, 'cause it's like just one of those things when you kind of don't expect to see the way someone reacts and interacts in real life compared to how they interact on a video in that setting. They were kind of like, just like, I could see in their faces, they were like, it's like, this is really like just a different kind of eye-opening experience. And
why? Because you're like more active on the podcast?
Yeah, I think like in my life, I'm trying not to put myself in trouble, like I'll say that I hide something, but I don't think if you ever watch these videos, I come across the way that I would in real life per se. Because I think outside, if we turn off the cameras and it's me and you talking, and then this other person, I would say that you and this other person that I know are the only people who know me for who I really am.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like the way that I would actually act in real life, be normal, etc. Someone's gonna be like, get us that footage. Get us pictures of Spider-Man right now.
Every time we're just about to record, he does not stop talking about My Little Pony. He only talks about. I'm like, Adnan, we have to start the show. Like, wait. But there's one episode. It had a lot of depth to it. I'm like, God, it's 5 a.m.
Whilst I'm vibing with my Starbucks and I'm like got my torture post department in the background. No, but it's like because I put on my masks, I put on my different representations to people. So you see it like every other interview. If you go and watch all the other interviews, look how I interact with people, whether it's Kylie, or whether it's Erica, or it's Anastasia or Hannah Tell. Like look how I interact. It just changes constantly. It just depends on the vibe you get with someone. It's like not all interviews.
That's why I'm here too, because like I can tell you have a mask. But me, I'm very much a golden retriever. I'm like, let's go.
And that's the perfect combo as well. A golden retriever with someone who's like masked with that. That's the thing. So it's like you kind of see two different sides from it. But yeah, they were really shocked the way that I was acting. And it's the same with like when I've been doing my counseling course. I gave them the feedback sheet I got for my counseling sessions I did for like 5 minutes of practice. Couldn't believe what they read on there. They were like, I didn't expect it to be this immaculate. And I've always said as well, in another life, I would be an actor because I could easily pull that off. Like as a dream, I used to work in hospitality for so much. People used to laugh. They're like, you're like the deepest introvert I've ever met. And you don't like people, you hate people, etc. And you work in hospitality, and that's been your longest job. I was like, isn't that just funny, isn't it? Isn't that just the icing on the cake? No, but it's true though, because it's like that is one thing you notice immediately when you get on the podcast. It's like the vibe can be there, it can not be there. I think like, for example, you watch the Erica videos that we've done with Erica, it's like you vibe with her more because you get to know her better, and then she lets you into her world, and it's kind of like fun with that. And speaking of which, I think she just got married as well. Because I saw a photo.
Oh, did it get nice?
Yeah. So, well, she's wearing like a white dress suit kind of thing. And I'm going to take it that because we spoke to them last year, Zachary Andrews and Erica Mori, around about this. I think it was Erica definitely around about this time last year. I think that the engagement has definitely kind of moved forward to like the wedding stage, because it was like Han Soto, Erica Mori, Anastasia Davis, and Kate Bent on a photo. Yeah, so I was like looking at it, I was like, and it looks very wedding. So I hope it has been a wedding. So
you're right.
Congratulations, Erica and Zach.
That together, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I do need to kind of get in touch with her, but like, congratulations to Erica Mori and Zachary Andrews, who I assume have now married as well, and we miss Hemi as well, obviously the dog. But no, anyway, yeah, try to do a podcast. Try and bring people on. It's painful. It's very difficult.
Like I said, just try to get random people on, like not even like industry people. Just try to get your friends on, and it's just like a nightmare, dude.
It is. It's a lot of hurdles and obstacles, and like again, studios can get in the way in between things as well. I've been trying to work on an individual, maybe 2 individuals, to get on a podcast potentially, but we're working on that. And you know who they are anyway. I'm currently camped there, and I'm waiting. The invitation has been sent out.
My Little Pony, yes,
they are. Yes, yes. But no, like working on that, and the offer's always there.
Yes,
just watching. As I said, never mind. But anyway, no, like it's a thing though, and I bet you as well how many podcasts which have started and have never hit 50 episodes, which would be wild as well as like a statistic. Because I imagine they just before we move on from this conversation, because we'll get back on track. How many podcasts do you think? What do you think the average length of podcasts is in terms of like episode wise before it goes defunct?
Oh, I'm gonna say 20. Like I'm gonna say 20. Do you know the number?
Yeah. No, I'm just curious.
Okay, just like question.
Yeah, I'm just curious what you think though, because like StrangeCast is on episode 71 now. Technically 72 if you couldn't count the Panera episode, but I count that as one episode. It's 71 episodes officially. And then also we have Panera's making new music, by the way, as well, making new Life is Strange track as well. So keep an eye on that. But anyway, like 71 episodes, and StrangeCast is Lost Records Journal is on 3. I imagine that probably the most is about 15 before a podcast goes defunct.
Yeah, 15 to 20. Because like by that point, you'll know if you want to do it or not.
And the euphoria goes.
Yeah. And it's just like, as someone who's been in the podcast scene, when Games Groceries was like doing its thing and I was like trying to reach out to people, of course, like I got in contact with a lot of other gaming podcasts who are just starting out. And it's like, oh, we're doing this. And they started Patreon after 5 episodes. I'm like, oh my God. Like you go too big too quickly, and you start to like you start to realize like, oh man, this is too big for my britches. And by episode 15 to 20, you're just like, oh, this is actually harder than I thought it was going to be. So
oh wow,
what's up,
Adam? This is interesting. So this is on Reddit, and this is not like any kind of like, don't just take it what it is. Someone put on here 10 months ago, our podcasting, what is the average number of episodes someone makes before stopping? And this user's put, I heard somewhere that most podcasters do 3 episodes or something and then quit. Is it true?
I would say that's true.
The first comment, the top comment says most never make it to 7. Which actually, I think 15 I'm being overly generous with now, because that does make a lot more sense.
I would say, yeah, after 5 episodes, you're just like 15, you're like, I would say 15 is like the committed ones. Like you're saying like you really wanted to do it, but like for somebody to say like, we should have done a podcast, it's about 3 to 5, yeah. Games of Groceries did 155 before we let that one go. But yeah, like there's times I wish I could bring it back, but I'm like, I just don't have the time anymore. Especially doing 2 other podcasts like this, StrangeCast and Lost Records.
Yes.
I'm already locked into contracts and doing music and doing full time. Something would have to give. So this is my announcement. I'm quitting StrangeCast.
He's gone. He's gone. Before you go, before we move on, I've gone on to another Reddit.
Before you quit.
Yeah, we quit. So I carry on. I gone to another Reddit which kind of pulls up more statistics, and I haven't clicked on the source, but I'm just looking at what they've put here. This is about reframing how you define success. Look at these statistics from this Reddit post, which is from another source. 90% of podcasts don't get past 3 episodes. That's 1.8 million people who quit. Of the 200,000 left, 90% will quit after 20 episodes. That's another 180,000 gone. To be in the top 1% of podcasts in the world, you only need to publish 21 episodes of your podcast. Your competition is not the 2 million podcasts. It's the 20,000 podcasters who don't quit. So technically, StrangeCast is in the top 1% of podcasts in the world because it hasn't quit after 20 episodes. That is
from experience, and you probably have this like experience too. Like doing your own independent podcast, like you also have probably connected with a lot of other independent podcasts who have reached out to you. So funny story. I once got reached out to, man, this incense particularly has like a lot of smoke, and I just hope it doesn't set off my alarm. But what was I saying? Sorry, I just got so distracted.
You once contacted for...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I once got contacted multiple times, like different podcasts, and I don't like this concept where they're just like, hey, we're thinking of giving you a 30-second clip to put like as a commercial in your podcast. And I'm just like, what? And they're like, yeah, just to share around the love. And like, they didn't offer for me to make a 30-second clip commercial to put in their podcast. No, they only said, can we put a 30-second promotional on your podcast? Independent podcasters have to stick together. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. No, like I told them, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't know. It's not like a whole like dog eat dog world, because like I've connected with Good Game Great Game, The Greatest Story Ever Played. There's a lot of different like playable characters podcasts. I connected with a lot of other people, but it's the ones that like out of the blue will just be like, oh, we should all just get together and just be buddies. I'm like, stop it. But yeah, no, like, have you ever experienced that?
No, I actually haven't. No.
Oh, okay then. Well,
no,
because you weren't really podcasting before this. Like you were doing the interviews.
Yeah, just doing the interviews, just doing the YouTube videos. Mainly interviews. Actually, it was just Life After Strange. Like this channel kind of grown since that. It was just mainly Life After Strange videos, and then this came about, StrangeCast, with the video doing these podcasts. Then I started making my own YouTube videos, thinking like I'll just do like little wrap-ups and stuff, which do really well, surprisingly.
Yes.
And then Lost Records Journal has been born, and then I need to kind of get onto other interviews I need to start doing here and there. But yeah, mainly it was just Life After Strange and just like that. I when I emerged, I just emerged per se. And by the way, when
honestly,
I'm not some big person. Like,
when I first found out about you and you were being like shared around, I'm like, who is this guy? Like, you honestly, in my radar, you just came out of nowhere. They're just like, oh yeah, Player One versus the World. And I'm like, who's this guy? And just like, hi, I'm Adnan. I'm very shy.
Yeah, very much. It was very much that for a while. Yeah, that sums up me. Yeah, I popped back up because I was like, I kind of want to talk about Life is Strange, and I've not done it for like years now. So it's like I want to go back and talk about it. So
yeah.
that was
You're
me.
probably in the same boat
up.
as I am with Games and Groceries. I'm like, I want to bring it back. It's just a matter of time,
Yeah, it's about time. Like how much like. You have to get on top of things. Like that's the thing with it. It's like I just can't. I'm like a big run with this podcast, like keeping it going with you, and I'm like, nah, episodes need to come out. I could be like burnt out. I could be like falling off my bed, but it's like the episode comes out, and it's like it just needs to commit to it. So, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that as well. In between this episode of this conversation about Life is Strange, to episode 3. But yeah,
our tips of podcasting: make it past 20.
Hey, it's a hard one, man. It really is. Like, I don't think like sometimes you think about even this podcast, who would have thought it would go past 20 episodes, let alone 180 people listen to it on Spotify, like have it followed and stuff. It's just wild to think that to keep the numbers
podcasting is harder than what most people want to say. It's not just like turning on a mic. It's like staying engaged. It's about getting the right people on. It's just there's a lot to it. But people don't really get that.
Without sounding narcissistic or sounding like we've made it or something, because I don't think I've ever made it in any way, shape, or form. I think being humble as it possibly gets, where it's like...
As you, like, brandish, like, yeah, I was immortalized with Life is Strange, but, I've accomplished nothing.
I am a god. No, but I think, like, that's the truth, though, because if you want to do it, it's the time, the commitment, even, like, doing the show notes. Like, we've basically kept on top of the news. I'm always keeping an eye out for things. So that you're constantly like just keeping an eye in case you want to cover news and stuff. So yeah, it is a long process with that. But yeah, try it out yourself if you do want to. You always have our support from it as well. And best of luck to you as well for that as well. Adam, should we move on to our main topic? If anything, we don't have any news pieces left.
Dude, I'm thriving.
He is thriving, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously, happy anniversary to Life is Strange 2 episode 3. Great episode and great memories from that. We're going to move on to our main piece of news. Adam kind of alluded to this in the last StrangeCast episode, but I thought we'd bring it into a bigger one because we can kind of encompass it with Life is Strange. And it's just generally big about Square Enix. We love Square Enix.
Yes.
Love
them.
both pros and cons with Square Enix, but it's a difficult one. So, the kind of conversation is, let me pull up the title of what I actually wrote here, which I've just kind of like eliminated here. Oh god, right, yeah, there is. So the actual topic I just said to Adam was like, what does the future hold for Life is Strange as part of Square Enix's new direction? So I kind of don't want to kind of overlap it with what's happened recently, all the conversations we've had about Life is Strange, but it's more in the general compass of Square Enix specifically, because these are some of the stories we're going to read out and talk about, which is, so this one's from VGC, this was this was Square Enix confirms its cancelled games, which don't fit with its new development strategy. So it says here, Square Enix has confirmed that it has cancelled a number of unannounced game projects because they don't fit with its new strategy. The publisher had previously suggested that it would be cancelling projects, but wasn't specific about the details. During a meeting held in late March, the company said it expected to report quote-unquote content abandonment losses, end quote, as part of its plans to overhaul its development process to improve game quality. Now, as part of its latest financial results, it has now officially confirmed the cancellation and explained why they were made. The new report says they were down 70% from the previous year, partly due to quote-unquote the recognition of 22.87 million yen, which is about $141 million in losses of the in US. Yes, thank you. Yes, US in losses on disposal of content as an extraordinary loss, end quote. According to the report, these losses were based on quote unquote the termination of development efforts for some pieces of key pieces of content in the digital entertainment segment, end quote, essentially meaning game cancellations. The company says projects were cancelled because they don't fit with its new medium-term business plan, specifically its new approach to how HD games are developed. In the new strategy, which is titled Square, quote unquote, Square Enix Reboots and Awakens, end quote, the publisher highlights a number of ways it plans to deliver high-quality games and make more players happy. Well, okay. Among these are plans to, quote unquote, aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy, end quote, which makes AAA games multi-platform going forward, and a revamp of its internal development process to, quote unquote, bring more capabilities in-house, end quote, instead of outsourcing to third parties. According to Square Enix's financial briefings, cancelled projects don't fit with these new strategies in particular, suggesting they may have been tied to a single platform or relied too heavily on external developers. It said, and I quote, a project-by-project review of continued development feasibly found these particular efforts to be incompatible with the group's revised approach to the development of HD games, which reflects such objectives as multi-platform development and strengthening of internal development capabilities, end quote. So that was that, and that came out with it, and then very closely followed by it, which was the Square Enix has laid off staff as well. As part of this, I'm trying to load up Game Developers article, and it's crashed. Adam, do you have it?
Yep, I just got it. Mine wasn't loading either. So, you want me to read the article?
If you don't mind, please.
It's titled Square Enix to lay off employees in American and European offices. It says Square Enix is reportedly preparing to lay off employees in its American and United Kingdom offices. That's where you are.
That is where I am at.
According to Video Game Chronicles, Andy Robinson, who spoke to sources familiar with the plans, Square Enix president Takashi Kiryu, I believe, Kiryu, shared with the news employees earlier today. Before I continue, it is funny that when we spoke about Deck 9, and they said like Square Enix was bullying, and they said specifically it was the British, the English, the United Kingdom Square Enix that was bullying them, I'm pretty sure. So,
by the way, that's Kiryu.
Kiryu? Yes.
Yeah. I only know that because I played Yakuza. It's spelled exactly the same.
Yeah. Hey. But I just wanted to point that out, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, Kiryu informed workers that it would be dismissing employees working in publishing, information technology, and the Square Enix Indie Collective in the month ahead. Employees in the United States may be ousted. I've never seen it spelled out, so it just threw me off. Maybe ousted as early as June 2024. while UK employees will benefit from the legally required 1-month consultancy period. So that's nice for you guys. A spokesman for Square Enix confirmed the news for game developer. After several months, this is quote, after several months of analysis and discussion amongst our leadership team, we have made the difficult decision to restructure our Western organization. A company spokesperson said in an email exchange, quote, this restructuring will unfortunately include a reduction in the overall number of roles in America and Europe. We are grateful to the talented Square Enix team members who will be leaving us and support them during this transition, end quote. Apparently this news was shared to the company. This wave of layoffs means Square Enix is joining the ranks of companies that all shapes and sizes have spent the last years eliminating. It goes on to say, going forward, the company will be downplaying exclusive releases in favor of multi-platform. Last year, the studio, it just kind of like goes from there. Whatever business shakeups, blah, blah, blah. It will be unforgettable experiences before. But yeah, basically they're saying they're just restructuring. It is interesting though, and I'll bring it up once we get through the other article.
Yeah.
But,
so just a quick one as well, because this all winds in together as well. It's the last piece, which was from VGC again. It's Square Enix's share price drops nearly 16% following underwhelming financial results. Again, winds into all of that. So Square Enix's share price dropped nearly 16% following its FY 2024 financial results on Monday. When is this published? 14th of May. When the Tokyo Stock Exchange closed on Monday, the company's share price was sitting at 6,268 yen. As soon as the market opened again today, this plummeted and at the time of writing now sits at 5,268 yen, a drop of 15.95%. The drop in price appears to show shareholders unease at recent financial results and what's planning in the next couple of years. This also happened to Ubisoft, dropped massively after its financial earnings, but that's Ubisoft. Square Enix president Takeshi Kiryu reportedly told analysts that the sales of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy XVI, and Foam Stars all fell short of their expected revenue and profit. As a result, the publisher expects to earn operating income of 40 billion yen, 225 million yen this financial year, instead of the analyst estimate of 57 billion yen, which was 364 million yen. It also stated during its latest financial report that profits were down nearly 70% from the previous year, partly due to the quote-unquote recognition, or we read that before in the other articles, recognition of losses. Explaining this further, it said that, I'm going to cancel that, we've also said that. Okay, I'm not going to read anything else about this, it kind of covers everything else with here that we've covered in the other ones. But yeah, the share price fell heavily. And speaking of which as well, this is random things as well, because I own Sony stock. And Sony reported its earnings. No, because I never knew this is how it works as well. So
I know, just every episode you come on, it's like, by the way, I own everything.
No, so. I've owned Sony for a while, just saying. But like, anyway, like, because basically Sony's splitting its stock, right? Mm-hmm. So it's trading about $84 in the US market yet. And in their latest financial earnings, they said that the PlayStation sales have fallen, but they're splitting their stock. So they're going to do a 5-to-1 stock split. So you basically split it, so it becomes you don't get more from it. I'm trying to do it in layman's term. You don't get more like in terms of stock you own. They basically try to like make it a bigger slice of the pie. So it's like the same pizza, but like thinner slices. Yeah. So you're basically still eating the same kind of pizza. But in Japan, for example, Square Enix's price, which is 6,268 yen. When you buy Japanese stocks, you don't just buy them as one as a retail investor. You buy them as 100. So you don't buy them like, for example, in the US where you can just buy a single stock of Sony for $84. You have to buy 100 Japanese like stocks at the same time. So you're basically paying about 8,000 plus yens or something for like Sony stock. So that's why, for example, Sony split its stock and Nintendo did it 2 years ago. So Nintendo split its stock 10-to-1 because instead of buying 100 at like, 8,000 yen or something, you buy it at like 2,000 yen. So it makes it more appealing to investors. That's just a bit of lesson for you guys because it's all about stocks in a minute, because Roaring Kitty has come back as well, as if you've seen in the news with GameStop.
Oh, really?
Did you not see in the news?
I didn't see. He came back.
No. So he tweeted something for the first time in a couple of years.
Oh,
and GameStop stock went like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's gone through the roof again. It's fallen back down again. But it went through the roof. It had like one of the biggest jumps. It got stopped on the New York Stock Exchange. They stopped it from trading because it was going volatile. But I saw him come back, and I was like, isn't it funny how like last couple of weeks we were talking about The Big Short, and like Rory Kitty has like just made one tweet. He has said nothing about GameStop, he hasn't said anything else, and the stock shot from about $17 to about $35, $36. It was wild, and it went up again, and then it collapsed. I think Thursday day trading went down to like 20%. It lost or something, and it's like, oh damn, there's the little influence for Rory Kitty. But to bring it back onto the point, yes, obviously the stock has been hit from Square Enix, and this kind of brings into a bigger conversation about Square Enix Life is Strange, because I think we've spoken for the longest time. I don't think Square has a strategy for Life is Strange anymore, personally speaking. I think they've lost all sense of direction with the franchise. It seems to be quite soulless at times. And then also as well, when you talk about the cancel projects they have, it wouldn't surprise me, for example, you had the Aperture rumor that we did, and that was a cancelled project, and they cancelled it, because we know Life is Strange game is in development, obviously, from the report that we read about Deck 9 and Square Enix from IGN. We know it's in development. It will probably come soon, but it makes you wonder as well, because it's like, you know, where are we going from here now? It's like, is Life is Strange going to release? I firmly believe for the longest time that Life is Strange is on its last legs in terms of like franchise releases, in terms of game entries. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes away after the next game not selling well. And then on top of that as well, like it gets sold as an IP, and I don't think Dontnod would buy it, because Dontnod doesn't have the financial resources to buy an IP at what I imagine Square Enix would try and sell it. And it could end up being in the hands of the Embracer Group, because it just feels like Square Enix just doesn't know what it's doing. Because, for example, in the new strategy, which is titled Square Enix Reboots and Awakens, that you couldn't even say about Life is Strange. Like, you know, Max Caulfield coming back, 10-year anniversary around the corner. Like, you know, Life is Strange could easily fall into that category where they try and reboot something. I've always said as well, the Life is Strange 1 could be remade at some point. And I say that in a joking kind of way, but it wouldn't surprise me. Everything's about remakes now and reboots in the 2024
what if
year that we're in.
Life is Strange remaster remake? So they remake the remaster.
We're not on Naughty Dog's level yet. I'm sure Neil Druckmann is already looking at a remaster for the remake of Last of Us 1.
Yeah.
But we're not at that level yet. But it wouldn't surprise me if anything. Let's think about it now as well. So I think we spoke about it last year. You said that you expected a Life is Strange game to be announced this year. I was a little bit skeptical. It seems like you're very much right about that. Obviously, having been confirmed by the IGN report, a Life is Strange game is in development. But since then, we've had, for example, Heat Waves, which hasn't come out yet, which is the prose novel that's been announced. We have currently a Life is Strange comic book series running in the background of like the Alex Chen Steph story, but which hasn't really been marketed beyond like, here's the release date of it. Like, where's Square Enix's marketing for it? It's like it just randomly pops up. It's like, do you remember the ice cream stall that we did? It was cool, wasn't it? And it just came out of nowhere. And it's like
nowhere. And it's just like, why would they? And that's the other thing, is like, why would they take the time? Because that collab takes time. Why would they take the time and resources to make that collab if they didn't care about the franchise?
Yeah, and it's just, it comes out like left field from somewhere. It's like, why don't you just like, I'm not saying you put a whole load of marketing resources and stuff, because I imagine that some of the people who work on the Square Enix Life is Strange team move to other games. I think they do it with like, they go into Outriders and they work on other parts of the games when it goes into quiet period. But I feel like you could still do active promotion, for example, on the comic book series you're running, which has got very little publicity in my eyes, if anything, or maybe the new upcoming prose novel. Before that, we had, for example, we had the Rosie 4 story of Steph's story that came out for Life is Strange, the prose novel. Then before that, we had True Colors, and it's been quiet. It's not necessarily like aggressive campaign, you know, aggressive marketing that you've been doing, or kind of keeping the series as relevant. And then you're cutting off staff from other departments in the US and the UK, and you're cutting this and you're doing that, and you've basically realized that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth hasn't sold as well as you think, and I kind of get why as well. This is why, for me, it kind of encompasses inside all those other conversations.
Here's the thing, like, not selling well. Like, how many times have we seen like Square Enix sing that tune? Hasn't sold as well. Hasn't sold as well. Hasn't sold as well. Hasn't sold as well. It's like, it's every single game that they put out. Yeah. And it's all the time. It does. Maybe Square Enix doesn't have good expectations for things anymore, or ever has. Because like, I feel like I've heard that same tune for 10 years. Of just like, hasn't sold well, hasn't sold to our expectations, hasn't sold to our expectations every single time. And I'm just like, lower your expectations, Ed. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I think it kind of goes into the conversation with Capcom, when Capcom does it with Resident Evil. But I think like what's happening here is like you can't, for example, be a Take-Two, which can basically fling money at GTA and then know it's going to make billions of revenue. And it's like, for example, Rebirth is massive at scale. It's an incredible game, by the way, when you play it. It's unbelievable if you had a PlayStation.
When it comes to Xbox, I'll play it.
Well, it will be a part of this new multi-platform strategy that they're giving. But it's like, when you look at it as well, it's incredible, the scale and stuff. But this kind of is a bigger issue within the industry we've been talking about for like weeks and months, when we've seen Microsoft layoffs. We've been seeing PlayStation problems in terms of no blockbuster games coming this year. You're basically creating massive budgets for these games that shouldn't be in the life cycle, because damning indictment as well. I went to a CX store here, which is called Saks here. It's a game store, yeah. CX, yeah. They call it Saks. Yeah,
I can't wait for July 4th, man. I really just can't wait.
Mate, you have GameStop, man. You take a game there, it's like, here's $80 in store credit or 10 cents for the game. Yeah, like, you can't say anything about that. But that's what CX is, by the way, for us here. But basically,
oh really? It's your GameStop?
Mate, it's so outrageous. It's like walking onto eBay with like outrageous prices on like stupid things. But anyway, walk in there. It's like 4 rows of PlayStation 4 games, 1 single column of PlayStation 5. Sony has said that the PlayStation 5 is in its second half of the cycle. Yeah. And it's like there's 1 row of games. It's like 11 games of PlayStation 5 games. Sony did its financial reporting recently, said that about half its consumer base is still on PlayStation 4. It's like, we're 3 years into the cycle, and this is what you've basically been doing for the last 3 years, where you've basically been making games for both generations. Because the entire point is that when you make a new generation, you invite people to come onto it. You're like, actually, you can only play this on this generation. Instead, they've been extrapolating it onto both generations because they want to make money off it. But it's not the process. Because if you want new console sales, you need to move onto it. For example, does Nintendo say, hey, you can play the new Zelda game on the Wii? No, it's on the Switch only.
Exactly.
Hence why the Switch is one of the 5 best-selling consoles of all time, and it's sold over 140 million units, because they're like, Nintendo doesn't care, man. They do what they want.
They did the opposite thing. So like, nobody had a Wii U, and so what they said was like, not only can you play this on Wii U, but we're gonna make it better. So they like forward compatibility all the Wii U games that you missed out on. So it's like 3/4 of the Wii U titles are now on Switch. So it's like the better console for that too. No, it's really interesting in that. And like, that's the other thing. I keep thinking about this too, because like, I have a Series X. You have a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this generation, it's just like, I would say it's just the most like weird generation. Like, there's no reason to get either one.
I would argue it's the worst generation in history for me. My lifetime, and growing up from the 1993 I was born, I played games like from the SNES era all the way up. I think it's the worst generation. And it's not because of the quality, it's because of the lineup. Because you look at PlayStation 2, you got like Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, Shadow of the Colossus, God of War, GTA San Andreas, GTA Vice City. It's been 10 years since we've got a Grand Theft Auto game, for example. If not more, it's more than 10 years now. It's been more than 10 years since we got a Grand Theft Auto game.
When's the last time we got a Elder Scrolls?
We haven't got an Elder Scrolls game. We're now 3 years on from a Life is Strange game. We're now like, X amount of years from games. This is the problem. There's no robust catalog with it. So it's like, you're basically like, games for me stopped evolving and growing in terms of like, looking in, let me rephrase that. Games stopped generationally evolving since the PS3 era. So PS3 to PS4 was the last generational leap that we saw, because PS4 is a continuation of already a big generational leap with enhancements and graphics and stuff. But PS3 to PS4 was the last visible, noticeable big difference to a game. But now where we're at now as well for Square Enix, and pointing to the conversation here, Life is Strange is like sitting there in a very precarious place, because remember, Square Enix sold loads of IPs. We talked about it. They sold loads of IPs to the Embracer Group. Life is Strange was one IP that they kept because they still probably see lucrative opportunities in the Western market. However, how far does that really take you now? Because fatigue is settling in. You basically have a Don't Know Montreal and Don't Know's team now making Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, which I've already said to you before is like the first test for Life is Strange in the current ecosystem, because it now has a rival competitor which could take market share. Not that it has to, or it's trying to compete with it, but it's creating that vibe of a game. It's like, for example, if someone from Midnight School Studio broke off and made an Oxenfree spiritual successor.
You're talking about Night School, not Midnight.
Almost got, yes, Night School Studio.
Night School Studios,
Like, if they broke off and they made their own Oxenfree game, then that would compete with it in a market. Like Life is Strange now has a competitor with Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, and it's like I sit there wondering, where do you go with this series? Because it feels like, for example, if Aperture happens, if, for example, Max Caulfield comes back, what happens to that entire process of giving Deck 9 freedom to make its own games with its own original characters, move the series on in like the anthology direction it goes, and you're reverting back to Max? Not that I wouldn't want to see Max, but then there'd be so many questions. Does Ashley Birch come back with, as Chloe Price does, you know, you're basically handling Max now to a studio which didn't create Max, so you're going to get backlash from people who love Don't Nod games, who love the creative direction of that, and you're giving Max Caulfield to Deck 9 to try and make a game from it. But you kind of sit there wondering what happens here, because this is, for example, why, and I spoke about it in that last episode where I said, like, I invested in Don't Nod, and then I saw one of our listeners, Clark's, tweet, like, a graph of, like, I saw him tweet, like, you know, a graph of how Don't Nod's made. Yeah. And it's like, when you look at it as well, like the companies that are invested in Don't Nod, it's like Tencent has a massive stake in like Don't Nod, and this company has a massive stake in it. And Oscar Gobert's company only has a very small stake in it. It's like massive stakes in this company, but it's like in itself, the way that Don't Nod works as well. Don't Nod doesn't have like loads of assets to like kind of like, you know, milk off. Like if you look at its earnings, it's always like the Vampire license, the Life is Strange license to get royalties. Yeah. They don't own them though. Focus owns Vampire. Square Enix owns Life is Strange. So for Don't Nod, at the minute, if you look at their catalog, what games do they own? They own Twin Mirror, Jusant, Harmony,
yes,
and also Talima's game, Portal Play's game, which is Gerda. That's the 4 games that they have at the minute. Tell me why it was published by Microsoft. That's why they're trying to build a catalog and trying to build with like their own kind of thing. And it's like, you look at, for example, Deck 9 now. What has Deck 9 got really? Nothing, because Telltale published The Expanse. Yeah, Life is Strange is owned by Square Enix.
Square Enix, yeah.
What else are they making? Because it's like, for
That's
example,
why I always said, like, I want a Deck 9 game. Like, I've always said that. Like, I want a Deck 9 game already. Like, I want them to like explore that. But yeah, unfortunately, it just seems like it. Okay, so since we're on the subject of Deck 9. I'm very, very, very much concerned for Deck 9 right now. Yeah. Like, I'm very much concerned because Square Enix is making this cut. There's a lot of studios getting like actually cut from everybody, and now it's just like where Square Enix is like, is Deck 9 owned by Square Enix? I don't think they bought them.
They're independent.
Like Deck 9 is like their own thing, but it's at the same time, it's like, you can't imagine, man. There's all these layoffs happening, especially within Deck 9. Like, if Deck 9 does consume itself, where does the Life is Strange IP go?
Big question.
Crystal Dynamics, you know?
It's a big question, because like when you, for example, look at what Square Enix is cutting in terms of staff. For example, Square Enix like lends out some of its designers to work on Life is Strange. So like Alejandro worked for Square Enix. He was a Square Enix developer. Like, he wasn't a Don't Nod developer. He was a Deck 9 developer. He was a Square Enix developer who worked on Life is Strange. So these Square Enix would support these studios amid the bullying allegations it faced, would support it. But you're basically withdrawing supplies from that. Deck 9 is like laying off people, is now marred in a controversy. When you look at the Telltale example from 10 years ago, like 5 years ago, so you kind of understand why Telltale collapsed, because it wasn't doing anything original. Look at what Don't Nod's done with Oscar Gobert. Oscar Gobert said, we have a strategy of making action adventure games, narrative driven games, and another game as well in that kind of genre. You've played Banishers, for example. I've been asking you about it over DMs about what you found from that experience, and you're like, yeah, they've kind of like got this kind of tone right. It's like, it's quite fun and stuff. Again, this is building on the success of Vampire. So for example, they're easily going to be able to partner up with people like Focus, or eventually go fully independent on that and make a full-scale RPG game, which could be AAA, brings in big revenue, brings in royalties, like Lost Records. That is in itself, like, there's no guarantee to success. I imagine if any journalist, any person who's interviewing Michelle Coe and Luke Bargados in those interviews, and Frederica, and said, do you think like this is going to sell loads of copies? They would be like, we hope so. It's like, we hope so, because you had with Life is Strange a lightning in a bottle moment where they caught it, they rode it, great success. Congratulations to them and stuff. I would 100% wager now, if we had Luke Bargados on here that said, do you expect Lost Records to sell 2-3 million copies of 20 million players from now? He'd be like, I hope it happens. He would be hopeful of it.
So I pointed this out to my buddy too, but I was.
You have another friend except for me.
Bro, we just explained I'm a golden retriever. I have like loads of friends. Honestly, I have like maybe like 5, and then everybody else is just. Here's the other thing about me. I don't know what magnetizes me to other people. People would just want to hang out with me, and I'm like, I don't want to hang out with you. It's like, but yeah. So I was listening to the Kind of Funny podcast, right? The Kind of Funny Gamecast, and they had on Dom Matthews, who was the head of Ninja Theory, who's putting on Hellblade 2. And when asked the question, he gave the hard question. Greg Miller was just like, hey, so all these Xbox layoffs are happening. We just saw Tango Gameworks, who had a very successful game, also get laid off. What are you feeling? What's your reaction to it and all that? And of course, he's not going to like say like, yeah, I hate Xbox, blah, blah, blah. He's not going to say it. But it was interesting how he sidestepped it. You can watch it. It's around, okay, so if you go on the Kind of Funny Gamescast, it's around the 20-minute mark to the 22-minute mark, if you want to listen to it exactly. But he essentially said, we're very proud of our game. We feel very good about our game. We just want to put our game to people who will love the game. All he kept saying was just like, what you just said, what Luke would say, like, we hope so. Yeah. He says, like, the vibes are good. Like, he said that, like, the vibes are good. We're very proud of the game that we have. So, to his response of, what do you think about all the layoffs? All he had to say was, we like the game that we're putting out. Yeah. You know? And, like, that's all you can say with this whole layoff situation happening right now. It's like, like, Hi-Fi Rush, you didn't play it, Adnan, but Hi-Fi Rush was so good. It was finally, oh my god, it was a breath of fresh air. It was like, this is a game that we wanted, and then they just shut it down. Yeah. Or even I would say Redfall wasn't even their fault. Like, even the people in Arcane were like, I don't want to make this game, and they're like, we'll make it. And then they got bought by Xbox, and Xbox is like, continue making that game, and they're like, we don't want to make this game. And so then they put it out, and Xbox is like, this game sucks. And we're like, shut you down. Yeah. What? So it is funny that, not funny, I shouldn't say it that way. It is kind of like interesting that all you can say right now as a game developer is, I hope. But that's why I'm a big advocate in staying indie. It's just because like the only one to fail is you, and you're the only one that can shut down yourself. Yeah. I say that as a indie music artist, and I say that as just a person who loves indie. It's just like the only person to shut you down is yourself.
It's the economics of business that we're at, and it's as simple as that. Like I feel for all the developers getting laid off. I feel for all that, but it's like when you see in these conversations that you said about Xbox, and then even like, for example, Ubisoft just recently reported earnings. Its stock fell off a cliff. It's got really not the best guidance, if anything. Then they announced an Assassin's Creed. Then there's backlash against all those like Assassin's Creed versions that they're doing with like the different fees and stuff. That's just the animal, the nature of where we're at right now. And it's like, you kind of have to work within a realm of a budget in a game that you have. For example, like, I would sit here more worried if we had like sat here and Michelle Coe and like Luke Bagdos had appeared on the stage of like the Game Awards and be like, well, we're making a triple A Lost Records Bloom and Rage, and here's the size of the map, and you can see Swan in this watchtower, like, you know, registering all these points. And I'm like,
she's at a viewpoint like Assassin's Creed, just like sitting at the
Well, they scrapped that, haven't they, now in Assassin's Creed? I think they're changing it, like the sync points and stuff. But it's like, I'm kind of like, if she was doing that and you see Swan on a sync point, I'd be like, ooh dear. It's like, I'm kind of worried about Dontnod, because Dontnod has already seen a financially sticky situation in the past when it did Remember Me with Capcom. That's not the game they need to be making. They need to be making a double A wholesome indie game, which is like Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which hopefully sells well. You know, fingers crossed. We hope good things for those people in Montreal. But it's like, they need to make a condensed game, and that's what they're working with as well. Where I'm looking at what we see from Lost Records, I'm like, I like that. And same with Oxenfree. Do you want to play when I played Oxenfree? I was like, I like what I've got from Night School Studio here. It's like, it's even condensed in there.
Even speaking on Dontnod, Jusant. Recently, didn't that studio get affected from the lack of sales, if I remember correctly?
Jusant?
Yeah, it was a specific studio that made Jusant, and I believe because of the lack of sales, like, I think the studio was affected. And I don't know, I don't think anybody was laid off, but I think like cuts were made.
But then Dontnod Didn't Don't just make Jusant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like there's like separate studios. Like there's a Don't Montreal and all that. I'm pretty sure. Let me just look this up real quick.
Because I know that we spoke about in the report where they said that Harmony didn't sell well, and they thought it might have been due to the climate and stuff. I was like, maybe not. It's a very niche product, if anything. Harmony.
I see a Steam thread saying like, "Oh, is Jusant woke?" I'm like, what?
I don't know what. How is that? Wait, what?
Someone said like, woke? What? Someone said cringe.
How is it woke?
It's not woke. I might be wrong. I might have seen something about that. But I will say this: that like Jusant, great game. Holy hell! It's just again like I'm just nervous for any studio that puts out like a really solid game now. Yeah.
It's about the business that you're in now as well, and the numbers that because like budgets are too big for some games in scope. So for example, I think about it now with Horizon Forbidden West. It was a great game. It looks spectacular. It's all this. The budget's outrageous. It never needs to be that big. And like this is the problem that you've basically done because you've extrapolated budgets. And when you were in the PS2 era, as I said, GTA San Andreas, Vice City, Liberty City, Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, Shadow Colossus, God of War, all these games came out on like a nice angle. They were linear. But it seems that every game needs to be big open world. You spoke about it with Microsoft, Adam, where they're thinking about putting Call of Duty on Games Pass. It's like, and it's like maybe that works out. And it might bring a bit of a premium for Games Pass. But remember, Call of Duty brings in $1 billion in revenue, and Activision, good old Bobby Kotick, the former president, and when I say good old, that's been a sarcastic sense. Bobby Kotick as well said during those FTC hearings that they had in court as well, he was like, I don't really agree with like Games Pass. He's like, maybe you could have an idea of using it, but it's like, as a separate publisher, you ain't gonna put it on that. And that's, for example, Donut. Is Donut going to put Lost Records, Bloom and Rage on Games Pass? Is it hell? And then, for example, in the conversation here, Square Enix putting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on PlayStation only is going to be a detriment, as much as it was when it put Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox. Do you remember that fiasco? Rise of the Tomb Raider being an Xbox. Stop making your consoles. That's like them saying Life is Strange 3 or Life is Strange Aperture or Life is Strange whatever it's called is an exclusive to PlayStation. And I'd be sitting there being like, what have you done? Because that game needs to be on every platform. It needs to be on every platform possible, and to milk those sales, if anything. That's why, for example, it surprises me more than anything else that Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Harmony, Jusant weren't released on the previous console generations because there's such a massive user base on them.
So I'm also looking up when we were just talking about Game Pass. I'm like, what is the likelihood of Lost Records becoming like on Game Pass? It's like, bro, I'm telling you right now, I think it's 50-50. I think it's.
You think it goes Games Pass?
50-50.
I will bet you the license to this podcast, the IP and everything else with it.
Yeah.
I bet you 100% it never comes to Games Pass. That's how confident I am.
Because here's the thing. All the Life is Strange games, all of them, have been on Game Pass. Tell me why. Of course, it was published by Square. Jusant got on Game Pass.
Are you talking about launch?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
because post-launch, I would agree.
Yeah.
Like later down the line.
Like, are you talking about like Lost Records? Like, I'm talking about like it getting on Game Pass at some point.
Oh no, I agree with that. I thought you meant maybe at launch. I was like, no, not at launch, but post-launch, down the line, yes.
I think the only way we'll know that. Okay, so like, let's put it like this: if Lost Records goes on, and we're going to talk about this later in the show. I don't want to talk about it too much, but if it doesn't get announced at the Xbox Showcase, then it's not coming on launch. Like, don't expect it on launch if it doesn't come on the Xbox Showcase. But I would say, because again, Jusant was on it, I'm surprised Banishers wasn't on it. But Vampire came on Game Pass
and PS Plus.
And PS Plus came on. Like, they came on both. I would say like a year later. I want to say.
Yeah, I would say
something
about
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Harmony.
Banishers will come.
Yeah,
I assume Banishers will come in a year.
Harmony, I'm actually surprised it hasn't come on Game Pass. I'm actually kind of surprised about that.
They released a demo for it. I remember they released a demo so they can try and invite people. I think they should put it on Games Pass now. I think it's because it's independent, it's a lower budget. They're probably like riding as it is. That they've already said it's not done financially well, and they're kind of like even saying it might be the market economics and climate and stuff. I was a bit like, no, I don't really agree with that because it's a very niche kind of product, if anything. For them as well, like, Lost Records is the main sample. But I think like this is the problem with like the conversation about the industry in a whole, because I think Square Enix isn't just the outlier. It's not the only problem with it. It's being shown over the last 5 or 6 months, 8 months or so, and including like, Take-Two's closures, Xbox's closures, all these problems. This is the problem that we have with Life is Strange. It's like, where do we go going forward? Because I sit here with fatigue a little bit. I love it. Yes. I talk about it all the time. I enjoy it. I imagine you the same. But we sit here with fatigue because there's just so many questions to be made. It's like when, for example, when we saw what happened with like the entire allegations with Deck Nine and Square Enix, when we look at what True Colors turned out as a product, and you kind of question, it's almost this Force Awakens style reboot of Life is Strange 1. And you're kind of sitting there thinking like, is this really the direction you wanted to go with this? You had a new developer, like you have a developer which is experienced with the series. You could just give them their own product and work with it. Then on top of that, you don't have a fresh pipeline of games. Then you have the problems of the remastered collection, all the issues. Then you have Deck Nine's layoffs. Then you basically have this kind of big report from IGN saying that basically like Life is Strange is being sold off to the lowest bidder. It wouldn't surprise me, for example, if Life is Strange takes the same direction as like what Konami's doing with Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake here, where it's remade by some random studio somewhere, where they basically want to kind of cash incentivize off it. It wouldn't surprise me if the first Life is Strange is remade because there's a big lucrative opportunity in it. But again, where are the budgets coming from here? Where are, like, we have seen budgets being slung around by Square Enix like it's going out of fashion. 100 million reportedly spent on making Forspoken, which ended up being on like discount offer for about $10. And even people responding in the comments were like, I'm not paying $10 for that. Like $5 maybe, if that. And you sit there thinking like, I look at Forspoken, for example, and it was like, we talked about it on one of the podcast episodes with like, the dialogue and stuff. I'm like, that game, for example, should be the scope of Life is Strange 1. It should be like a AA indie game within the realm of a good budget. $20, $30 would sell a lot more. And it doesn't need to be open world. It doesn't need to be. You can include all those like little themes into a miniature small experience. Stop making extravagant games. If someone said to me the next Life is Strange game is like a AAA open world game with thinking, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm done. I just want to keep linear experiences. I've played games that you've recommended. Oxenfree, great. Oxenfree 2, great. Look at Lost Records, has very similar vibes with like Life is Strange 1, made by the creators of Life is Strange 1. It has all those kind of beats. Great. I'm all for it. I don't want to spend X amount of hours on ludicrous games that aren't going to make the returns for the publishers, and then the developers are hurt from the end of it as well, because that's the same with Rebirth. Loved it. It's incredible. Plowed about 140 hours into it. Tell me where I'm going to get 140 hours to play some of these games, though. It's like, it's great in scale, it looks impressive, etc. But at the same time, the waiting time between these games is so long. And it's because of the resources you're plowing into it, the development process, and then not getting the returns from it, because unfortunately, they're not films. Like, let me just say this as well, because in the grander scheme of conversations, Disney has had a rude awakening to this moment now. It now realizes that the superhero fatigue has settled in. Yes. Bob Iger is sitting there like, hang on a minute, we can't just churn out the same Disney films that we were doing 10 years ago, where Avengers was making 4 times its box office budgets, whilst it watches, for example, the Marvels fail, it watches this film fail, it watches Dial of Destiny fail in the box office, because you're basically putting too much money that you've already made from previous films, putting these extrapolated budgets onto these, like, onto these films, and the revenues aren't coming into it. Make something smaller, make it with a nicer budget, and when it explodes, like paranormal activity, like Saw 1, then the revenue comes in. So, for example, is Oscar Gilbert throwing money at Michelle and like Luke being like, here you go? He's like, nah. He's like, there's your resource, there's your money, spend it, because we're a small AA independent studio. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. That's the problem that Deck 9 is facing at the minute with Life is Strange. Its eggs are in one basket at the minute. Yep. It tried with The Expanse. The Expanse, I think, is very niche what it is. I don't know how it's sold. We were even talking about this ages. We were like, out of all the adaptations that Telltale's making, The Expanse, and then you were kind of talking about the mythology of it, like all the series and stuff. I was still kind of questioning, because I thought almost like we're going to get a surprise announcement that Amazon's like publishing it with Telltale or something due to finance it. But again, niche. But it's like, then look at what Deck Nine's done for. I'm not even bashing Deck Nine for the sake of it. I love Deck Nine. I love some of the developers there. You know, I've spoken to them. They're great people. Modern allegations they made, which is unfortunate because of the people who work there. We've spoken about talented people who work there. But it's like, what have they done since they've emerged on the scene? They used to be idle minds, but like, how much do people really know about the studio? How much do people really know predating 2017, for example?
Yeah.
And what they've been doing post 2017, post 2017, before the storm.
It is wild.
True Colors.
I've been following them since 2017. That is kind of wild, dude.
Mate, you want to talk about wild? I always says me and Kylie do like yearly catch-ups as we do for the podcast and stuff. Yeah. I've known Kylie since she was 19 years old. The last time she spoke, she was about 25. And I'm like, that makes me feel old, because it's like, you watch someone's career someone grow. And for me, she's always been like that young, like 19, 20, 22-year-old person. And she's like 25 now. And I'm like, oh my. When I jump in the car, I'm like, sometimes like, maybe you're like my aging checking memory of like how old I'm getting as well when I see you. But like, yeah, in the sense that Before the Storm, True Colors, Remastered Collection, The Expanse, that's what Deck 9 has done since 2017. Since 2017, Don't Nod has done Life is Strange 2, Twin Mirror, Tell Me Why, Jusant, Harmony, has published Portal Plays game, which is Gerda. Have I missed anything else? Lost Records, Bloom Rage coming up, Banishers, Ghost of New Eden. Look at the difference, though. This is like where you have to manage your resources. And if like Don't Nod is going to the AA space, great success to them, hopefully. You know, I hope that they have good things from it. But then you need to kind of like reel yourself in and not end up in the state that Ubisoft's in, which has slashed all these jobs in the last 3 or 4 years. Then started like kind of struggle to make revenue off certain games. Is still lingering on Assassin's Creed and hoping on that. Then you look at, for example, Square Enix, which is struggling with. Look at Square Enix as well. We've had 2 Final Fantasy games in the last 2 years or so. That's wild for me. And the budgets aren't cheap. And you know it as well, because you said it to me in the last episode. Phil Spencer, your boy, has even repeatedly said he wanted to go into Japan and make a splash with the Xbox. And even Japanese developers struggle to sell games in Japan because the climate isn't the same anymore.
Yes.
Those Japanese games don't hit the same. They hit the Western market even better. That's why Sega was buzzing when Yakuza flew off. Because it was like, oh, this is great. It's like a good mass market appeal. Yakuza's been around for years. It's finally broken into the Western hemisphere.
Yeah.
But like Japanese developers and Japanese studios have struggled to create space in the Japanese market because it's not as popular anymore. And Square Enix is a Japanese developer at the helm of a Western IP like Life is Strange. And you sit there wondering, like, you know, if you said to me now and asked me just to kind of wrap the conversation up and near the end of it, is Square Enix going to keep Life is Strange for the next 6 years before 2030? My answer is no. It'll be gone. Is Deck 9 going to be a studio in the next 6 years? I hope so. I really do hope so. I don't think it will be, though. I think it could collapse quite easily because of where we're at. Will Life is Strange keep making games in the next 6 years? I don't think so. It might not. Even if someone takes the IP, they might not make any games. Look at how many times, for example, I've wanted for years and years a new Dead Rising game.
Yeah.
No bueno. Capcom's not even going anywhere near it after what's happened. It's like,
are you going to be excited when a Life is Strange game is announced?
That's a good question, that.
Yeah.
That's a very good question, that. I would like to think it would bring a bit of love back into the series for me. And I would, despite my critical assessment and my critique, I would try and keep an open mind and give it another chance. But I think for me, it would be, that's the testing point at that point. I'd be like, if this doesn't hit the same vibe, then I'm kind of like, I think we're done here.
Because we haven't had anything, dude. Anything. No. And it's just like, we got our taste with True Colors, and even True Colors, it's like, I don't want to really revisit it a lot. It's not like the original Life is Strange or even Before the Storm. It's just kind of like, we almost had it, man. And just like, I still said, like, when it first released, it's my second favorite Life is Strange game. But as the years progress on and I replay the old games, I'm just like, it gets a little bit more down for me, you know?
How about you then? Do you think you're...
What's that?
How about your own question yourself?
It depends. It really depends on who's developing it. Like, if Crystal Dynamics takes over and it's like the
You're all about Crystal Dynamics, aren't you? You're all about Crystal Dynamics.
Love them. love Crystal Dynamics. But yeah, if Deck 9, here's the thing. I want a Deck 9 game, and I want Deck 9 to have another chance. I want the third time to be the charm for a Life is Strange game, because the first time they did it, it was only a 3-episode arc. You know, as great as it was only 3 episodes, and then they got their 5-episode arc, and it was kind of like disappointing a little bit. I want them to have a third go and just like not essentially get it right, but just like, and then they had another go by remastering the first game and Before the Storm, and we see it from there. I want them to finally have a Life is Strange game that we forget that Don't Nod made Life is Strange. Like, that's what I want. In a respectful way, yeah. I want there to be like a respectable entry in the Life is Strange series, but it all depends on the trailer, and it all depends on who's making it.
Do you know what, as well? I would 100% say that would happen if Square Enix wasn't involved.
Yeah.
I don't think Square Deck 9 will ever show the levels of creativity it can and possibly do without Square Enix being there. I think, like, that studio, as I said to you before, I'm not sitting here to bash on Deck 9. You know, I've spoken to a lot of people there. They're lovely people as well. They've given me and Adam. Yeah, Xandru's, man. He was such a great bloke, and same with, and it's still a great bloke, I should add as well on that. He's a great bloke. Same as Stefan Frost. They've been lovely people to us. Like, whenever me and Adam have interacted with anyone from Deck 9 or spoken to them, I've spoken to a lot of people from Deck 9. They've always been very lovely and really kind words. And this is, like, for example, why that story hit me really hard with the allegations that rocked the studio, because people really like to take a beating on Deck 9 because they just want to Don't Nod fanboy over things. I love Don't Nod as well. I don't take allegiances with Don't Nod or Deck 9 because it's like, I just want to respect them for both, for, you know, being both creative developers in their own rights and creating their own games. But it's like with me, for Deck 9 can only find a future direction for me if it takes the Don't Nod route. Not in terms of publishing, but just being an independent studio, making games for different publishers and kind of dabbling its hands in it. But for the time being, with Square Enix at the helm of a franchise like Life is Strange, I don't think you'll ever find that same kind of success with it. Because, like, all that stuff you said, for example, like even the remastered collection, the bugs, the issues, that was down to Square Enix publishing it, you know? Look at the resources they must have given them, the time they must have had as well. I've always said it's the publisher's art. I have no stock value in Square Enix. I've said this to people before, like, I've already blown any opportunity to kind of get anything in here. But I've offered to give Square Enix a platform on here to bring people on here. They were like, nah. And I'm like, why would you say that? It's like, I'm getting nothing out of it in return. Am I asking for payment? No. Am I asking for anything? We are literally using this to kind of give you a platform to talk about it. And your developers have openly said they would want to come on here and talk about it because they connect with you lot, the fans, with us, the fans. And they're like, no bueno. And I'm like, well, that's a really dumb strategy, because if you wanted to get mass exposure, you'd go on every human platform as possible and promote your games and speak to people, whether they have 15 views or 100 views. That's the best market you could possibly get, because someone can easily take 2 hours out of their day to sit down with someone, or even 30 minutes or an hour to plug something. Because that's the first thing. If someone came up to Adam and said, can you come on my podcast, talk about your music? He would literally ditch any other plan to go on there and talk about his music, because you basically need to platform yourself and give you as much space as you want. And that's the issue that I have with this conversation with Square Enix. Square Enix is a big root problem for Life is Strange. And I would genuinely think, and I would be very much to say this on my last point, they should be worried about Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Yes. They should be deeply worried about Lost Records. Not because it's trying to be a pale imitation of it or it's a spiritual successor. This is your first real test for me since I've covered the game, since 2014, since I've been covering it prior to release, that I've seen anything that is eerily similar in terms of the vibes, the atmosphere, what could possibly be basically a narrative adventure game which is going to cannibalize your market. Because what you have at the advantage at the minute is brand identity and loyalty. That can easily switch.
Yes.
Because some people are already buzzing for Lost Records, which is great. Some people are on the fence about it. Some people are not convinced by it. You basically need to reestablish Life is Strange as like a powerhouse IP. Can you do that now? That's the big question with Square Enix, because I don't think people are going to put as much stock value in it, because I don't think when you put the money that you do towards it, so for example, you look at True Colors and the advancements in mocap and the technology you're using and the resources, I don't think you're getting anywhere near the same levels of revenue income stream from a franchise which is struggling to keep its base resonating in the same way in terms of excitement, in terms of everything else. I think it's losing a lot of its appeal at a very fast pace, which is worrying, and that's like, you know, something to kind of be concerned with, both from a Deck 9 perspective and a Square Enix perspective.
No, I agree with you with everything you just said. It's just kind of like it's something you want to root for. It's something you want to like just hope that it happens because you want it to be that powerhouse that it is. There is a fan base still, like we see it in the community that we're building here in StrangeCast. And we see it all the time in TikToks that we share. You know, that Square doesn't realize that Life is Strange still has a very vibrant community. And you know, it's something you hope for, it's something that you want, and it's something that Square is just getting in the way of themselves of doing it.
They are basically that definition of like holding a gun to their own foot and shooting themselves in the foot with it. Because like you said, your question, I would if we heard Max Caulfield's voice, we heard Hannah Tell again in another thing, even if it was Max and I didn't agree with things, I would still try and stay open minded, because I'd be like, okay, I would generally last roll of the dice, I'll throw it and I'll see where this goes from here. I'm open minded to it, whether I agree with it or not, what it is, and I've air vented certain kind of opinions and stuff. I'll roll the dice with you, and then we'll go from there. I think you said it to me best. It's like when I said to you, like, I wish the podcast would grow and I wish more people come here. It's like with us, we're fandom, and I don't think we're the fandom of other podcasts where some people just become overly excited about everything and stay true to it. Like, we're critical of things as well, both sides, Deck 9 and Don't Nod. And like, even with the games and stuff. So it's like, we have to, like, you know, we'll never get the people being like, oh, I don't know if I want to come to a podcast and listen to maybe negativity or maybe something else, because we will be critical of things. But in the actual scheme of things with like Square Enix, it's like, I don't think that sometimes they really understand and appreciate what they have here. They could easily have like licensed off merchandise and stuff years ago in terms of like a Max figure and stuff, the Play Arts Kai stuff. They could have done that. Didn't do it. Didn't take the opportunity. Missed opportunity. And then we're at where we're at. Adam, should we move into our comment of the day?
Yes, we should, because I got some things to say about this.
Definitely. So we'll go into comment day. Thank you for listening to the main topic. Let us know what you think about Square Enix and its position it's at. Do you see Life is Strange staying with them? Where do you think things go from here? Do let us know in the comments. We'll be interested to hear that. But this comment of the day comes from Danish Hakel 8840. And they said, do you guys think there will be more of this, which is referencing Lost Records, at the Xbox Game Showcase in June 2024? So we've kind of talked about this on other things, but I kind of wanted to bring this in because we're coming closer to June, and obviously the Xbox Games Showcase happens and the Summer Games Fest happens as well. And obviously we've had all the news about the Microsoft layoffs, etc. And we've had our lo-fi trailer since we had these conversations and stuff about Lost Records. Adam, do we see it at the Xbox Games Showcase?
Lost Records?
Yes.
I think that I want to say yes, but I hope no. And here's the reason why. Before I say anything else, I just want to say one thing. Okay? One thing.
Yeah.
I just pre-ordered the Jusant vinyl.
What?
I just pre-ordered it.
Oh my god. There we go. Yeah. Confirmation.
It is now confirmed. I just thought of it. I'm like, oh wait. Never mind, I did not. Never mind. Okay. Shoot. Are you serious? There's a problem processing. Ah, man. Yeah. Oh. Wow. So I just want to say one thing. Okay, so I just tried to pre-order it. Okay? And my bank just said there's a fraud alert to decline. So
Well, I hope our comment of the day is getting really excited about this conversation so far, which is basically Adam now kind of like trying to make sure he's not defrauding himself to his own bank.
Yeah, I just want to point that out that like I just tried to pre-order the Jusant vinyl and it said like, hey, it seems like you're being frauded. I'm like, okay, thank you. So anyways, back to the comment. But yeah, so that journey will continue. Yes, I don't want to see it at the Xbox Showcase. However, it will be shown at the Xbox Showcase. And here's my reason why. Why it will be shown is that where did we see it just last? Where did we get the vinyl? Not the vinyl, the lo-fi, right?
Xbox
we saw
ID Showcase.
We saw the Xbox ID Showcase. And the reason why I don't want it shown at the Xbox Showcase is that I don't want it being collected within the bullcrap that Xbox and everybody there is going to be saying, like, we love games, we adore games, even though we shut down studios left and right for no apparent reason. We're going to just keep showing you how much we love games. So it's just going to be collaborated with that love of games bullcrap. And if we see it at the showcase, I think there's a higher chance that we see it day one Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
That 50-50 turns into 60-40 if it's shown as at the Xbox. Because here's the thing, we got the teaser trailer at the Xbox ID Showcase, and if we see it at another Xbox Showcase, that's a higher chance it's going to see a day one Game Pass.
I'd be mortified if it came to Games Pass.
I would be too.
Not just from my own position, but also as an investor, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
What you're doing, don't not. It's like the sales could be so much more bigger than just what Games Pass is offering you.
No, it's like one of those things that, like, I don't want to see it there because that's almost confirmation that's going on Game Pass, you know? But will we see it? I think yes. I think we will be seeing it at the Xbox Showcase. The exact quote is, do you guys think there will be more of at the Xbox Showcase in reference to Lost Records? But yes, I think the percentage chance of seeing it at the Xbox Showcase June 9th, I would say is a 75% chance we're going to see it at the Xbox Showcase.
Ooh, that's a big talk.
Yeah.
See,
do you disagree with me? You know, because we already had Jusan on Game Pass. We already saw a lo-fi trailer at the ID Showcase. There's a pretty high likelihood we're going to see much more of this at the Xbox Showcase.
Yeah, I mean, like, with Phil Spencer as well, with the BS that's happening at Microsoft, I'm sure he's probably throwing pizza parties for the remaining employees to kind of get their morale up, as usually employers do in a corporate America and corporate UK, you know, boost the morale by firing people and then giving incentives out when you could just pay them more. But anyway, I think personally, my kind of approach is, and it makes sense as well when we saw the Xbox ID Showcase that they were there, like when the game played. It could possibly be that because, like, there's more marketing space available rather than being cannibalized by what the Dorito Pope Jeff Keighley shows during Summer Games Fest, because it's kind of like a bit nauseating. You saw it with the Game Awards, for example. Like, Lost Records was a 2-minute premiere within like literally an egregious, like, a ridiculous event which he held, for example.
Yes.
My idea was that I'm kind of like, because, like, what I feel like, I don't think they might keep showing it on the same platform, which is just Xbox ones, Microsoft ones. My idea was that they might show a bigger kind of piece or something at Summer Games Fest and just show that there, and then also have a presence at the showcase as well for Xbox as well, and have like some kind of like a repeat trailer or something just to kind of be visibly shown there. Because obviously their marketing is probably limited in terms of budgets and what they're putting it on. I do think they'll be there somewhere, whether it's Summer Games Fest or Xbox Games Showcase. I don't know. I kind of agree with you that the Xbox Game Showcase would probably be better just because of the room they would have, because there'd be a lot of eyes on the product, and it would be less games being shown necessarily compared to Summer Games Fest, where you see all those other things that are being shown there. But yeah, I do think that we'll be shown something, if anything, at least some point next month. But I don't think it might not necessarily be like a gameplay trailer. So it might be like another spotlight trailer or another character, because obviously you talk about those characters that we've seen, for example, in Lost Records. Like, 2 of them haven't spoken yet. We've like heard Autumn and we've heard Swan, but we've not heard the other 2 yet. So still a little bit more marketing behind that. And there's some interesting comments in the last Lost Records Journal episode. Actually, we'll talk about in the next episode. There's 2 comments on there which hopefully I'm going to quickly flag them here. We won't let them get deleted. I hope people don't delete them.
Yes.
It's from Laughs with Liv and to all of WTF. They left 2 comments on there, but we'll talk about that in the next Lost Records episode. They were just generally asking, like, which character you're excited for and stuff, but we'll talk about it in the next episode. So do stay tuned for the Lost Records journal. But yeah, to answer the comment question, I think it will be there in some capacity, probably, if not at both events. I see it being somewhere at those
Summer
events.
and the Xbox?
Yeah, it'll have a bigger presence at one of them, if anything. The other will just kind of be, we're showing a repeat or we're showing a smaller vignette or something of what they've already shown.
I think there's a likelihood that it will be at both, but like I said, if it's on the Xbox, if I say the 75% chance that it is on the Xbox showcase, I'm gonna put myself out there that it is a very, very high chance it's gonna go on Game Pass.
Oh my god, I'll be so furious if it goes in Game Pass. I'll be so furious.
Yeah,
oh, no.
It's a high likelihood it's gonna go on Game Pass. If it's at the Xbox showcase, we're talking like a 90% chance it's on Game Pass.
That'd be such a dumb move.
I know.
It needs sales numbers behind it. It needs proper profitable growth. Games,
not just players.
Yeah, not just players, not what they get from the deal with Xbox. It needs structural, like, sales, if anything. That game and the studio and Don't Know can't. That'll be like the Square Enix moment for Don't Know if they did that. I'd be furious. If they did that. But let's see, Adam. Let's see if it happens. But thank you for the comment, Danish. And yeah, as I said, always, leave your Danish shout.
The Xbox showcase is in 3 weeks.
Yes. So it's pretty much, it runs in near synergy of with games with Summer Games Fest. So yeah, let us know if you think you'll see it as well. Thank you, Danish, for the comment. And also, again, leave your comments on the YouTube video for this episode. The best ones we'll pick out. And again, we're rotating them. So if you're wondering if your comments aren't popping up, they will pop out otherwise. Because otherwise, Life is 2D will be in here a lot. And same with Dream Prism as well and other people. So that's the reason we do it. Adam, we're coming towards the end. Spread the arts.
Spread the arts. Do you want to go first?
Mine's a bit of a wild one, actually. I think I'm pretty surprised with mine.
Sorry, I was just also talking to my bank here. Like, no, I have not been frauded.
This is like a wild moment. That to order a record from the donut store. It's like this has happened. His bank is like in the communications. What is happening here? Dear me. Do you want me to go first?
No. I want to hear yours. If you seem pretty excited about it.
Mine's a bit of a. I think that mine will throw you for a little bit of a loop here.
Okay.
I kind of came across this. So I was doom scrolling as I usually do on TikTok because I was in one of those moods, and one person popped up on my feed who I haven't seen for a while. So do you know who Cassidy Pope is?
That sounds very familiar. Hold on.
So Cassidy Pope is the singer of Hey Monday.
Oh, yeah. So
I had no idea she was still making music.
Yeah, is she?
Yeah, so let me tell you this wild story, right? This is where it gets wild, right? So I had no idea she was still... I love Hey Monday, by the way. This is part of my Paramore phase. I think they could even been bigger than Paramore if they'd kept with it. But anyway, she is still making music, right? Mm-hmm. She is now releasing her single album that's coming up, which is a return to pop punk because Cassidy Pope has been making music that's been country. So Cassidy Pope, after leaving Hey Monday in about 2011 and 12, went on The Voice in the US, and she won The Voice. So she had already become an established musician playing for Hey Monday. Not big, obviously, because Hey Monday was still like in that bubblegum period of like pop punk, and it was trying to break out. But she went solo. She went on The Voice and made it big.
Yes.
She won the competition.
Right.
She then ventured into country music. So she started making country music. Well, obviously, again, she's made pop punk music before that, but she goes into country music. She becomes big success from that, right? Big success from like making country music. And now, as of July, I think it is. Let me quickly check this. I've got it on my Apple Music here. Mm-hmm. On July 12th, she drops her new album, which is called Hereditary.
Oh.
And in there as well, yeah. So she's got she's got 4 songs available in a 12-track album. Taylor Swift, take notice of this. This is how you make an album. 4 tracks available in this 12 album. This is her return to pop punk. So when you listen to the first song, which is People That I Love Leave, sounds exactly like a Hey Monday track. And I was like buzzing. I was like, wow. I was like, that is the find of a lifetime for me. I had no idea she was still making music. And then on top of that, she's now returning back to making music that was like Hey Monday vibes.
Nice.
And I'm like, wow, I'm like, that's one wild story. But it kind of goes into the conversation when we were talking about it. God knows how many podcast episodes ago about like Beyonce making country music. And I think we had a conversation off podcast where the Tortured Poets department could easily have been a country album.
Which song are you talking about? With like,
It's the first track off the album, "People That I Love Leave," of Hereditary, which is her new album coming out on the 12th of July.
Okay, because I'm only seeing the singles. Is it under Cassidy Pope or?
Yeah, that's her thing.
Oh,
Apple
okay,
Music.
okay, I see it. Okay, People I Love, because she has a couple other singles now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first track on the new album that she's dropping, which sounds pretty vibey.
Oh, I've heard this song.
Yeah.
I've heard the song. Oh. Yes, I recommend this. I back this up. Oh, good.
Trying to like make it too loud, by the way, because I don't want to get hit by copyright.
Sorry, yeah, no, I just want to like.
Yeah, it's vibey, isn't it? She's got such a vibey voice. She is basically doing what Paramore should be making music-wise now. Like
yes.
I have like big things about Paramore. Paramore was one of my favorite bands, and like what Hayley Williams did with like the last album, and like when they're making this song called "This Is Why," and it's the most ridiculous lyrics I've ever heard. It's like she's like taking that album, that band too far away from it, and then when you listen to Cassidy Pope here on Hereditary, making that could be a Hey Monday track if they were still going, and I was vibing off it. I'm like currently now. This is the whiteboard moment, going through things. Like me going through all her album, because I want to listen to the country stuff now she did, because that is fascinating she went into that. Because we talked about it off podcast saying that Taylor Swift could easily have done a left curveball and be like, the Tortured Poet department is a country vibe record. And it's like, she kind of goes back to those roots, and it's like, country is popular, man. If you do country music and you do it properly, you're going to build like a big fan base, man. You watch South Park.
It's up by 140% listenership.
Mate, you do it, man. I learned this from South Park. Cartman makes a Christian rock band. He gets a Myrrh album. Like, he knows the business model there. It's like you have a clientele with people. That's why I'm going to make StrangeCast a country podcast soon. Don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's going to happen a country podcast. I might get Christine to change our logo where we have cowboy hats to make it country and be like, that's how we represent it. But no, I was buzzing when I found out. I was like, that was the one rare find on TikTok. I was like, actually, because I saw her on a video and I was like, why do I know you from somewhere? You look really different. But then I clicked on it. I was like, Cassandra Pope. And then I went on another video and she's like, hi. She's like, hi, I'm Cassandra Pope. I used to be the singer of Hey Monday. I'm like, Hey Monday. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, I still have like their songs. Like they only have one album on Apple Music at the minute. It must be like a licensing issue.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, it's only a licensing issue. So it's like, when I go on my runs, I hit Arizona, those bring back the days of like living the teenage years that I did. But oh my God, when I found it, I could not believe it. I was like that. And then watching it, I watched her audition on The Voice season 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is wild that she's an established musician trying to go solo on The Voice. And you listen to her songs solo. It's like, damn, she is stupidly talented and she should be more successful. So yeah, that is my messed that up. Yeah, that is my big one for this one, which is Cassidy Pope, Hereditary. Check it out. It's coming out next in July. There's 4 tracks available. She's a very, very talented singer. Okay. Could be one of my top albums behind the Tortured Poets department and anything Casting Garden puts out there. I'm just putting that out there. So it's up there as a challenge for it.
Which Casting Garden is returning soon-ish. I'm not going to say how or when. I'm just saying it's coming back soon-ish. To double down on that, on the whole like country art scene, like a mini version of my Spread the Arts. There is an artist, only has 2 tracks out, and I hope she gets more. An artist called Rye, so like RYE, Rye LaChance. She has a single out also called Widows of Normandy. Bro, I hope she puts out more music. Yeah, dude. Oh my God, like she's got a lot of talent and she's got that vibe going for her. So yeah, a little mini on me. Rye LaChance, I would say, like it's a good artist to look out for.
How did you find her?
I was listening to a playlist called Juniper. So Juniper is like a folk music kind of place, which also features Taylor Swift for some reason. So it has people like Rye LaChance and then Taylor Swift. So there's Spotify for you. But yeah, no, I found it through a folk playlist, and yeah, she's really good. I really like Ride LaChance. I hope she puts out more music soon.
I'm looking up her bio here as well. Meet the Back Home Fest 24 lineup, part 10. Riley Chance is a New England-born, Nashville-based singer-songwriter who began writing lyrics at the age of 6. Nashville, eh?
Nashville.
Is that Paramore as well? Haley Williams.
I would say so.
Nashville. Yeah, she's Nashville. Yeah,
Nashville,
Paramore,
Tennessee. Yeah.
There we go. We've got another rising star. So yeah, Riley Chance. Look at that nice synergy there with Spread the Arts. 2 music things there.
But I was gonna say I am on the last season of a show that I never gave a chance, and now I am giving it its chance, and it is fantastic. I am on the last season of Atlanta. And holy cow, dude. Does this go... Have you seen Atlanta?
I've never seen it, no.
It goes so off the rails wild, dude. Holy crap. Like, season 3... Like, when I tell you that season 3 gets so bombastically insane, like, I can't describe it to you. Like, my friend has seen it, and I told him, like, oh, I finished the first 2 seasons. He's like, you going into season 3? And I was like, yeah. Buckle up. And I was like, okay. And it goes so stupidly wild. Really? What I love about Atlanta is that, one, it's a short show. Like, I believe only, like, 10 episodes per season, 10 to 11, and they're 30-minute episodes, so you can go by it pretty quickly. It tells a lot about black culture, hip-hop culture, ghetto culture. Like, I'm coming from Philly, so it's like it kind of touches home for me.
Yeah.
But it really goes in depth with it. Donald Glover, fantastic. We have so the main rap artist, who I can't remember the actor's name, also played the father in Across the Spider-Verse. So he plays... Really? Yeah, he does the voice acting for that. But yeah, and then there's this character named Darius. Darius is my favorite character. Honestly, like, it's just got a lot of depth. It's really funny. And it touches a lot of base on just, like, ghetto culture in general, like like how you make it out of there, what actually happens, even just the music industry. It touches a lot about the music industry. So, but if you haven't given it a chance, bro, Atlanta, it's worth your time. It's so worth your time.
Wow, big win over Case then. Look at that.
Yeah.
Good shout. I think that's good in ending Spread the Arts compared to recent ones that we've done. More so from me, if anything. I really don't watch anything. Actually, I've been watching Godzilla as well. I'm about 20 minutes into it.
Godzilla?
Yeah, the one with Bryan Cranston in it.
Oh, boy.
I'm trying to get into that series of films at the minute. So I'm watching all the monster films so I can get catched up to date. And I'm going to watch all the Planet of the Apes ones.
Yes.
Catch up on those so that they're on my list of things I'm doing recently. But we'll talk about them and Spread the Arts if need be.
Yeah. I was going to say the one Bryan Cranston is kind of... brutal.
I said talking to my brother about it last night. I couldn't get into it first time I watched it, but now I've watched 20 minutes of it again. I'm kind of like a little bit right. I've got through the more drier period, if anything, so I might give it a run. But we'll talk about that another time. But anyway, we're near the end of this, so thank you for joining us, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you are new here, one more time, please do consider dropping subscribe on the channel, turn notifications, like the video, and share with your friends. Helps support the channel, helps you support me during that soul destroying sentence I have to say. And also, as well, StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. We're available on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. Do go and check us out, go and download and rate them as well. It really helps support us on those as well. And thank you to everyone who supports us on Spotify. We're almost at 7,000 plays, if not more. So thank you for that. In the comments, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about Life is Strange, Square Enix. Do you think that they should sell the properties over? Do you think we should take control of the rights? I personally think I would make a very great Life is Strange games.
Sure. Yeah.
It'd be like that Simpsons sketch when they do the bod thing and it has the out of business sign. I'd be like, yeah, that wasn't a good idea. But anyway, let us know what you think. Either way, stay tuned. This is our last episode of the month, but then as of next month, 4 episodes, podcasts, StrangeCast, Lost Records Journal, StrangeCast, Lost Records Journal. So stay tuned for that. Until then, guys, take care. See you later. Bye.
Peace.
Ready for the mosh pit, shaka bra.